Hello.
Sponsored by Judy Fuchs, in memory of her father-in-law.
Okay.
Susan
I'm gonna
Cook,
put it up right
Kramer,
here.
family, in memory of her late husband, that's Brian Fischel, and Shirley and Marvin Weinstein, in memory of his mother. A day of learning her mother. We got a phone.
Completed. Friday, they said that wasn't on.
A day of learning sponsored by Jesse and Sora Marilis in memory of his brother, Rav Moshe Kranzler in memory of his wife, Roseanne Barr in memory of her father, and then Rappaport in memory of her mother.
Good.
Ron?
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear us, Harvey?
Yeah, I can hear you. No problem. No, actually pretty good.
Very good.
I guess we can start. Okay. We're on the Mishnah on Chaf Aleph, Chaf Beis Amud Aleph, the top, the Mishnah at the top. The Mishnah says that the Mishnah is talking about the giving testimony when if you see the new moon. So who is kosher to give Adis testimony for the new moon? So the Mishnah says, Abu b'no sharoas hachodesh, a father and son who saw the new moon together. Yeilchu, they should both go to Bezdin. Lo shemitz tarfen zem zeh. Not because one may be able to join with the other to provide testimony, because they're a father and son. They're krovim. Ella she'im yepaso echad mahem. If one of them became paso, yitztaref hasheni imacher. The second one can be joined with a different witness, and okay. Rav Shimon says, Avu b'no the chala krovim kasherim eis echodesh. Rav Shimon says that the testimony of the new moon testimony is different than other giving testimony because a father and son and all relatives are permitted. How do we know this? So the Torah tells you, God said to Moshe and Aaron, "Chodesh hazeh lochem." This month is to you. Moshe and Aaron are brothers, and they were giving testimony. Okay. All right. So Rav Shimon holds that a father and son or any relative could give testimony for Kiddush Chodesh. Rabbi Yossi says, "Ma'aseh b'tuvia harofa." There happened to be a story that took place with Tuvia, the doctor. Sharou as a Chodesh b'Yishalayim. He saw the new moon in Yerushalayim. Hu b'no the Abdoi Meshuchra. He and his son and a freed slave. He had an Eved Kanani who he had freed. And so all of them saw the new Chodesh. The Kiblu HaKohanim also v'esbeno. And the Kohanim accepted him and his son as witnesses, like Rav Shimon. Uposel es Avdo, but they would posel the Eved. Ukeshabau lifnei Bezdin, and when they came before Bezdin, Kiblu also v'es Avdo Apostle b'no. Bezdin accepted him and his slave and not his son, because the Bezdin evidently didn't paskin like Rav Shimon that krovim are permitted to give aids. Okay, so that's the Mishnah. So
how did the Kohanim come into it?
Huh?
They had nothing to do with it. Only the Bezdin was the kind of. What did the Kohanim come into it?
They were like, they checked out the witnesses before they even got the Bezdin.
Oh, really?
This is again an indication of the beginning of the schism between the Tzadukim and the Perushim. They were constantly vying with each other. So the Tzadukim would take the whole cut of witnesses that showed up and pick the two that are going in. To try it was like a power sharing agreement.
Right.
And the Perushim did not accept. Just one other quick note, because of the word Lochem in Pasuk, the Kohanim, the Tzadukim, felt that you had to be a descendant of Abraham Mamre in order to testify to the moon. That's why they rejected the Eved. And the Rabbanim say, no, any ger is, if not literally, at least spiritually, a descendant of Abraham, and they have the total equal rights in terms of testifying as anybody else.
So the Gemara is going to now explain the argument between the Tanakam and Reb Shimon and Reb Yossi. Amar Reb Levi. Reb Levi said, "My time of Reb Shimon. What is the reason of Reb Shimon?" So the Gemara says the ksiv, because the pasuk says, "Vayomer Hashem Moshe v'Aaron b'Eretz Mitzrayim leimor," said to them, "Achodesh hazeh lochem." This month is to you. So what does that mean? This month is to you. You saw the new moon. You can give testimony for this month. Okay. Eidos zu tehei kasher v'chem. This testimony of giving Eidos is kosher for you. Okay. Now, what did the Rabbanan do with this pasuk? Why don't they hold this drasha? So Rabbanan, but the rabbis, how do they learn this pasuk? Eidos zu tehei mesura lachem. This testimony is placed under your jurisdiction. Only people like Moshe and Aaron, who were the Gadol and the Dor, could be members of the Sanhedrin of Gadol, who could accept the testimony of the Eidos and say, this month is Mekudesh. So the rabbis say that Eidos is given over to you. You are the judges who will be the ones who say the new month is Mekudesh. Okay. So now the more goes on. Amar Rav Yossi Ma'aseh B'Tuvia Harofe Ubeno. So Amar Rav Chanan Barabba. Rav Chanan said. Rav Chanan Barabba said, Hilchasa Reb Shimon. The halacha is in the view according to Rav Shimon, who says that krovim are mutter by forbidden to give Eidos HaChodesh testimony, new moon testimony. Amar lei Rav Huna Rav Chanan Barabba. Rav Huna said to Rav Chanan Barabba, but wait a minute. Rav Yossi, our Mishnah brings a Maisa with Rav Yossi. Rav Yossi brought a Maisa. Rav Yossi and Maisa. The At Amrad Hilchas Rav Shimon. Our Mishnah brought a Maisa that contradicts Rav Shimon, and you're telling me the halachas of Rav Shimon. So the Gemara says, Amalei, so Rav Huna said back to Rav Chanan Bar Rava, Vaha Zimnan Sagian Amris Kaime. Many times I said in front of Rav, the Hilchas of Rav Shimon, that I said over in front of Rav that the halachas of Rav Shimon, V'lo Amar Li V'lo Midi. And Rav, when he heard me say the halachas of Rav Shimon, never corrected me. So I have to presume that Rav agreed that halachas like Rav Shimon. So Rav Huna said he thought there was something wrong. So he said to him, Amar lei. So Rav Huna said to Rav Chanan Bar Rava, Heichi Tanisa. how did you cite the Mishnah? You said you cited over this Mishnah to Rav. How did you say over the Mishnah in front of Rav? So the Gemara says that Amar Lei, he said to him, Ibcha, I reversed the positions in the Mishnah. So I said that that Rav Yossi was the one who held it's mutter, and Rav Shimon was the one who said it's not. I said the Mishnah reverse. So when Rav heard that I was saying Rav Shimon does not permit Eidos HaChodesh, he didn't contradict me. So the Gemara goes on and says, Mishum Hachi, that's the reason, Mishum Hachi, Lo Amar Lach V'lo Midi. Okay. So now the Gemara is going to try to clarify the Allah. Amar Rav Tuvi Berei Damari, Rav Tuvi, the son of Mori Tuve, Amar Mar Ukva, said in the name of Mar Ukva, Amar Shmuel in the name of Shmuel, that Hilchasa Rav Shimon, the halacha is like Rav Shimon. All right. So the Gemara, everybody seems to say that we shouldn't say the halacha is like Rav Shimon. So some say that you have to change the text, and the text should actually read that Hilchasa ain't halacha Rav Shimon. A halacha is not like Rav Shimon.
If you look at the Mesaris Shas,
I mean,
on the gutter.
Look, you could read the Gemara halacha Rav Shimon and the Mesaris Shas that the Girsa is ain't halacha Rav Shimon, and there are Rishonim who paskin like the halacha is like Rav Shimon, and there are Rishonim that say the halacha is not like Rav Shimon. So you could take your pick.
Takes your choice.
Take your choice. Huh? Okay. So now the Gemara goes on to explain which witnesses are not kosher to say give testimony for the new moon. The Einu Heina Psulim. These are the ones who are ineligible. They can't give testimony if they saw the new moon. Hamasach Yepekuvya, somebody who plays dice or cards, gambles. Umilave Veribis, somebody who lends money with rivers. It also means even the borrower who accepts a loan and pays the rivers, he's also puzzled to give testimony. Okay. Umafrika Yonim, dove racers. They used to race pigeons. So those people are puzzled to give Eidos Midrabanan. The Sochare Shvius and merchants who sold produce that was grown on Shvius, that you're not allowed to sell. Those merchants they have no manas, and we will not accept them as witnesses. The avodim and slaves, a Eved Kanani who belongs to a Jew and went through the process of Milah and accepted and has a din of he's mechayiv and all mitzvahs that a woman is, he's still puzzled to give testimony.
Interestingly, that's the only one that's the Raisa in the list.
Right. The other ones are all the Rabbanan. This is a general rule. Call Eidos she'eino isha ksherla, any testimony in which a woman cannot give testimony. So these two, afhein einu ksherla. These two also, these others people mentioned in the Mishnah cannot give testimony. Why can a woman not give testimony? So the Torah says a pasuk. The amdu shnei or nashim, two men stood up and gave testimony. So the Gemara learns, the pasuk says, men and not women. Women are not permitted to give testimony. So any place where a woman cannot give testimony, these people cannot give testimony. Where can a woman give testimony? So there are two cases where a woman can that the rabbis believe the woman to give testimony. One is if a man died and the only witness is a woman who can testify that she saw this man die. The Besdin will be mater based on her testimony, the almana to get remarried. They'll accept her, so she will not become an agree, right? And the other case is that we talk about the parshas of Sota. If one woman testified, I know for sure that this woman was miyachad with this man and had relations, we will accept her testimony, and the woman will not go through the whole process of being a sota. So, the Mishnah is saying,
any Isser Beheter.
right, any Isser Beheter, we will accept the woman. So we will accept, they will accept all the other people. So the Gemara says, "Va'isha kshera law," but where a woman is kosher to give testimony, afhein kshera law. So these other people in the Mishnah are also eligible to give testimony. Ravashi, and Ravashi said, Zosa Meris. From this we can learn a general statement, a rule. Gazlan de Divrehem, Kshera. A robber on a rabbinic level is Kshera in the Eidas Isha. Is permitted to give testimony in the case of a woman to permit her to get married. Okay. So now the last Mishnah in the parak discusses Misha Roas a Chodesh, somebody who saw the new moon. Ve'enu yochol lahalech, and he can't walk the bezdin. He can't get the bezdin. Molichen oso al chamor, so they can bring him on a donkey, even if it's Shabbos. And that, what is the Yisr there? It's called Mechamer. You lead the donkey, and that's one of the 39 malachos. Vafilu, you can put this person on a donkey, this witness, vafilu v'mita, and you could put him on a bed and carry him with the bed on your shoulders. If you're afraid, this witness is afraid to go to Yerushalayim because he's afraid there's going to be robbers or people out there that are going to try to hurt him, the ambushers. Lochen b'yadam maklos. They can take staffs. They can take weapons to protect themselves if they feel there's going to be a danger. If it was a distance to Yerushalayim that was great, lochem b'yadam mezonos. They could take food with them. Sha'al mahalech laila v'yom mechalim Shabbos v'yotzin le'edes chodesh. If a person lives within a day and night travel from Yerushalayim, he could be machalo Shabbos to get to Besdin so that he can give testimony that he saw the new moon. All right. And he can take food with him and they can carry him because the pasuk says, Eile moadei asher Hashem asher tikru oisam b'moyadim, that these are the appointed times that you call them, you declare them in their fixed time. So the Torah is saying a witness can go to the court in order that Bezdin should be able to establish the months so the Yom Tovim will come out properly. Hadron Alach Arba Rosh Hashanah. Okay. Okay. So now the next Mishnah. Im ein makiranosam. So the witnesses come to Yerushalayim, and the court doesn't know who this guy is. The guy doesn't live in Yerushalayim. The court doesn't know him. So you would say, okay, we would presume this guy is a cheskes kashrus, and we should accept him. And they did. Im ein makiranosam. So the Mishnah says, Mishalchan imo, they didn't necessarily accept them. Mishalchan imo achar leheidu. The Bezdin in the town where this witness was would send somebody, a character reference with the aid so that he could testify in court, and the witness would say, I know who this person is. He's a reliable person. So the Mishnah says that Barishona originally, originally they accepted testimony from everybody. Any Jew came, they didn't ask any questions, they didn't know him, they accepted his testimony. When the Baisusim, who were one of the sectarians, who didn't believe, they believed in Torah Shabbat and not in Torah Shabbat Peh, and they didn't believe in what the Chachamim said. So when they tried to disrupt the whole process, Hiskinu, the rabbis, established Shiloye Mekablan Elam in Amakiram, that we should only accept witnesses that the court knew. If the court didn't know the witness, the witness had to bring with him a character reference so the court would know who he was. So now the Gemara says, wait a minute. What is the Mishnah saying? They send somebody else with them. My acher. Can one person give testimony about somebody else? We only believe two witnesses. My acher. What does it mean, one person? Achad, it means one, but we don't. That can't be because we always have two witnesses. So the Gemara says, "V'chad mi mehemen," is one person believed. V'sanya ma'isa sheba hu the of imo l'hoyolola. The Brisa says there was a ma'isa, and the witnesses who saw the new moon, the Adav and two witnesses came with him to testify on his behalf as character witnesses. So you see, it has to be two witnesses. Okay, so what does it mean in our Mishnah that one? Two witnesses to vouch for the witnesses, right? So Amar Papa, so Papa said, my achar, what does it mean? Somebody else, one person. Zug achar. It doesn't mean one person, it means another pair. A pair of witnesses have to come to give testimony for this one person, give as references. It's hachinami mestavra, and this seems to be the most reasonable explanation. The elo tema hachi, because if you don't say this, then we have another problem with the Mishnah. Because if you read the Mishnah says, in ein makiran oso, if they do not know him, my oso, what does it mean him? Is that plural or singular? That's singular. So that implies if they don't know him, it's only one witness giving testimony. We don't accept one witness. So im lema oso had, if you want to say oso means one, so is one witness is believed. Mishpat ksiba, the Torah says it's considered a mishpat, and mishpat it requires two edus, two witnesses. So my elam my oso, what does it mean? Him. And the Mishnah says it means also zug, that pair of witnesses. So it means him and somebody else came to testify they saw the new moon. My acher. So then you could say here too, the second phrase in the Mishnah, that zug acher, another pair. Zug acher means another pair of witnesses, not just one person. For the more says b'chad lo mehemen. Are you telling me that one witness is not believed with respect to being a confirming witness? Vasanya, but we learn in a brisa, Maisa Rab Naharai. There was a story about Rab Naharai. Shaholach etzo ho'ed lahoyed Allah b'Shabbos b'Usha. When the Bezdin, after the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, they moved to Usha. So the Bezdin, so Rab Naharai went to Usha to testify as a character witness on behalf of one of the witnesses that was giving testimony about the new moon. So you see that even one person, Rab Naharai himself went. So you see one character witness is sufficient. So Amri, the Gemara says, wait, Rab Naharai Sada Achrina Hava Bahad. Rab Naharai had another witness going with him. So why didn't the Brisa say that? And the Brisa, the Tana, the Brisa didn't mention him Mishum Kavodu Rab Naharai. That since the Brisa was telling you that the Naharai, who was a gadol, went to give testimony on Shabbos as a character witness, even though he had somebody else with him, but the Brisa doesn't mention it. The Morah says, I'll give you another explanation. Rav Ashi says, Rav Naharai Sa'ado Achrina Hava Busha. Rav Naharai knew that there was one other witness who, as a character witness in Usha already. So he went by himself. The Bryce is correct. He was the only one who went. But he wasn't going to be the only character witness. There was somebody already in Usha. Right. So that answers. You need two character witnesses, and also Rab Naharai, it's Tarufa Bahade, and Naharai went to join this other person in Usha. Okay, so Mora says, "Ihochi Maila Memra." So then, if that's the case, what is this Brisa telling us that Rab Usha went on Shabbos to give as a character witness? Then Mora says, "Mahu the same." I might have thought Misveika lo mechalin and Shabsa. Rab Naharai thought there was another person in Usha who could be another character witness. Did he know when he left that there was somebody there for sure? I mean, he doesn't know there was a second person there. So if he doesn't know for sure, I might have thought that maybe he's not allowed to go. The only way he's allowed to go if there's two witnesses for sure that they're going to be character witnesses. Maybe if he doesn't know for sure there's a second person there, he himself could, and he himself, even if he went and there was nobody else, he would not be accepted. So maybe he should not be Mechal Shabbos and go to give testimony. So Kamash Malon, the Tana teaches us that even if that he is allowed to Mechal Shabbos, even if he's not sure there's somebody else there, because he can be a character witness for the person that was there. The Gemara says, Ki also Ula, when Ula came, Amar, when Ula came to Bavel from Eretz Yisrael, Amar, he said, Kitshuha liyarcha b'maravda. The Bezdin in Eretz Yisrael was made, was Makadesh the new moon. Okay, so he told them that in Eretz Yisrael they were Makadesh. They had already been Makadesh Rosh Chodesh, the Rosh Chodesh of the present month. So Amalei Rav Kahana. So Rav Kahana says, Lo mevoi ula the Gavra Rabahu, the Mehemnin. Ula was a great Amora. I mean, nobody's not going to believe him if he said he heard that the Bezdin Yerushalayim said it's Mekudesh, right? They said it was they already proclaimed the noon, but Elafiu Inishtiyama Nami Mehemnin. If I walk into the court and say I heard that Bezdin Yerushalayim was Makadesh for the Chodesh, are you going to believe me? I mean, you don't know me, right? So the Gemara says, what's the halacha? So the Gemara says, my time, what is the reason that even an ordinary person would be believed? If you walked in and said to the court in Bavel, I know that I heard that the Bezdin Yerushalayim was Makadesh the Chodesh already, they would accept them. Why? Because the Gemara says a rule. Call milsa davida legluye lo mishakri ba inish. Something that can be revealed, a person will not lie.
Except today.
So in other words, if he's going to say, I heard that the court said it was Mekudesh, eventually word will get to Bavel, and they will know that Bezdin was Mekadesh the Chodesh on that day. So a person is not going to make a statement that could be found out to be a lie. So therefore, even any person who comes to Bezdin and says, I heard that the Bezdin Yerushalayim proclaimed it to be Rosh Chodesh, that they would believe him.
They would believe him.
Huh? They would believe him. They would believe him.
So if I send somebody with a star, who's a recognized person, would we accept it?
No, this is, may I? There is, the point here is there is a difference between actual testimony in a Bezdin. Actual testimony in a Bezdin, it has to have all the rules of any court case. The witnesses have to be clearly kosher witnesses. There have to be two. They have to go through chikira and the whole process. Once the din or the month is proclaimed, whatever the Bezdin's result was, once they announce their psak, anybody saying, I heard the psak is accepted. Because if I lie about that, it'll be on the front page of the Times tomorrow, that the Bavel Times, that Bezdin in Yerushalayim proclaimed Tuesday as Rosh Chodesh. That'll become eventually clear to everybody. So you take the first word at its word.
You still didn't answer my question. I come to Bezdin, nobody knows me, and I have a star from a recognized Rav, everybody knows him, Sab and everything, etc. And he says, this person accepted be used as an aid. Can I use him? Can
You
it be
need
accepted?
to, if you're testifying, you need two live witnesses.
You're not listening. I came with a star from her,
I
etc.
heard you,
I
but
came
he's
to this
only
town,
one.
nobody knows me.
So the fact is, you need to have two character witnesses
On the
alive
star.
and present.
On
No,
the
a star would not be adequate.
Why not?
Because a star is not Eidos. Eidos.
It's a raya beyond. I mean, the Gemara says,
If that were the case, you would then have to bring two Eidim to say, we saw Rabbi Schwartz write this star.
Right.
And then he would be accepted perhaps as one witness.
I'm not saying
You
no.
would need another.
That's a different story. I'm just saying him as an individual. He was riding on a train, somehow, some way he came around along with this guy, he needed a second witness. I'll make up any story you want.
No,
There is a
an affidavit,
possibility.
you're talking about an affidavit. In a Bezdin, an affidavit might not be accepted.
I repeat, I never said an affidavit. You're saying that. I'm
That's
saying it was
how do you
a letter written
That's an
by a
affidavit.
recognized person.
That's an
Affidavit.
affidavit. You need live testimony in a Bezdin. I'll say
Okay.
it one more time, so it'll be the same.
Okay, we'll go back there.
Okay. Tanya Namiachi, we learned this concept in a brisa. Ba echad b'sofa olam. Somebody comes from anywhere in the world, from India. He comes to Bavel and he says, I heard that the Bezdin in Yerushalayim said that yes, today was Rosh Chodesh. Do you believe the guy?
Yes.
So so the Gemara says, the Amr Kitchu Bezdin is a Chodesh Nema. He's believed. Because he would not say that Bezdin was Makadosh, and when it could be found out, it would become public that they didn't. Okay, so now the Gemara goes back to what the Mishnah said. Originally, the court accepted testimony from anybody that didn't ask for character references. Whether they knew the person or not, they accepted them. So Tan Rabbanan, the rabbis learned in the Brisa, Ma kilko kilkulu habaisusim. What did the baisusim do to disrupt the process? To disrupt the process of Kiddush HaChodesh. So Pam Achas Bikshu habaisusim lahatos es hachamim. One time, the baisusim wanted to make the chum, try to get the chum to make a mistake. And some say it was before Tishrei or before Pesach. They wanted to get him to make a mistake, and this way the Yom Tovim would come out wrong. So Sachru Shnei B'nei Adam, Ba'aram Me'azuz. They hired 2 witnesses, and they gave each one of them 200 zuz, which is a lot of money then. Aklad Mishalanu, one was one of ours, a Jew who accepted the Chachamim and their teachings. The Aklad Mishalahem, and one was a Baisusi. And Shalahem Hayed Edusus, and they prepped him, but their witness went into the court, and the court testified for them. Shalahem Hayed Edusa V'yatza. And he went out. They accepted his testimony. Shalanu Amru. So our witnesses came in, and he said, and the court asked him, Amor, Ketzav or Isas a Lavana. How did you see the Lavana? Amr Lahem. Allah Hayisa b'Maladum. I was going up by Maladumim. V'Reisi, and I saw the Lavana, the new moon, the sliver of the new moon, shehu roivetz ben shnei sloim. I saw it between 2 stones. Rosh doma la'egel, and it had a head similar to a calf. I mean, you're talking about a little sliver of a moon. So the guy's giving you false testimony. Osnov doiman the gedi, its ears resemble a gedi, a kid. Karnov domos litzvi, its horns resembled a deer, a tzvi. Zenavoi, and its tail was munachas lo bein yarkasov, between its legs. The chitzatsti bo, and I looked at it. V'nis amti, I was frightened by it, startled by the new moon, the way it looked. V'nafalti lachurai, and I fell down. He fell down. All right. Now, Vim einat aminimly, if you don't believe me, hare Mosayim zuz sururanli besadino. I have 200 zuz that can prove that I'm telling you the truth. Amru lo. So the court said to him, Mi his kikulakach. Who was involved with you in this matter? I mean, who told you to come and tell us a lie? Mi is kikulakach. Amar lahem. So he said, Shamati, I heard Shabikshu by Susim Lahatas is Chachamim. The by Susim wanted to deceive you, the Chachamim, Amarti, and I said, Eidechani v'Idealahem. I will go to them and tell them I am willing to give false testimony in front of the Besdin. Shema Yavayu b'nei Adam she'enim huganim. Rather than people, I believe in the Chamim and I'm willing to lie so that somebody else would give testimony and they would accept it. Right.
Give this nonsense story so you
right.
know it's a lie.
So Shema Yavayu b'nei Adam she'enim huganim. So Amru lo. So the rabbi said to him, Mosayim zuz nasuna lachma matana. So he was prepared to give the 200 zuz to the court, but the court said to him, the 200 zuz that they gave you, we are giving to you as a matana. And the one who hired you, we are going to put out on the post and give him malchus. And also Shaw at that time, Hiskinu, the court instituted Shiloye Makablan Elamina Makiram, that they would only accept witnesses that they knew. And if they didn't know the witness had to bring character witnesses as references. Okay. So that's what the Baisusim attempted to do to disrupt the whole process by hiring false witnesses. So now the next Mishnah goes on and says, originally they did not send out messengers. Originally they would light torches. Originally they would light torches, and that's how they relayed the word to Bavel when the court had made Rosh Chodesh. The Shekilkalu Hakutim, when the Kutim disrupted this process, Hiskinu Shiyeh Shluchim Yotzim. So that's when the Chachamim said that instead of torches, they should send out messengers. And the messengers had a letter from the Besdin, and that's why the people would accept it. Okay. So now the Mishnah goes on. The Mishnah says, Keitzad hayim masiyin masos. How did they light the torches originally? Mevian klunsos shel erez aruchim. They brought a long cedar wood pole. The konim and reeds, vatse shemen and balsam wood, and the ora shel pishtin and flat and piles of flax, of pishtin, the korach v'mashicha, and they would bundle this on top of the pole with a string. The ola l'rosh hahor, and they would go up with this big pole with this top that they put the bundle of stuff on top of it. Matzis behemoth or. They climbed the hill, and matzis behemoth or, and they would set fire on to the wick on top. Umolich umevi umaud umorah. They would wave it back and forth and up and down. Ad Shahu Royas Haveiro Shu also came Barosh Aharasheni until he saw somebody else on the second mountain doing the same thing. See, right. So he started, somebody else on the second mountain started to wave it, and they continued the process on. V'chein, and similarly, Barosh Harashlishi, from the second one to the third mountain, and all the way out until they got to Bavel. What were the vantage points where they lit the torches? So Mahara Mishka, the first place was Hara Mishka in Yerushalayim, and from there, that was the first the Sartova to Sarbota. That was the second mountain. Sarbota le Grufinia to Grufinia. Grufinia le Chabron, from Grufinia to Chabron. Chabron the base Bilton, and from Chabron to base Bilton. They didn't move from there. They would continue waving it back and forth. Ella Molech Umevi Umala Mora, they would raise it up and down and back and forth. Roya Kahagola Lefonav Kamadur Aish, until they saw the face of the Golas, the entire valley looked like a big fire. So they say that really it wasn't like the face of the whole valley. The city that was there was Mechuzah. And Mechuzah was the city that was on the boundary. And the city of Mechuzah was lit up. The people realized what was going on. They realized it was horrible. And Mechuzah was the city that in Bavel passed the word farther on that when the court in Yerushalayim had proclaimed Rosh Chodesh. Okay. So now the Gemara says, the Mishnah says, Masi and Masos, they lifted up poles with fire, with flames. My mashma, the Masi and Mishnah Dikudhu, who says that the lashon of Masian means burning? Teksi by Yesoy Ein David. Yesoy means they lifted it up. It also means they burned them. That by Yesoy David Ve'anosha means David burned them. And with Targaminan, the Ogdin on David. David burned them. That's the Targum says, and they burned it. So you see that Masi and Masos means that they lit the torches, and that's how they notified the people. Ton Rabbanan, the rabbis learned in the Brisa. Ein Masi and Masos ela chodesh shenira b'zmano. They only lit torches on a month that was seen in its time. So in other words, it was a 29-day month. And the 30th day was the first day of the new moon, was the next month. And that's when they lit the torches. Okay. Ella al chodesh shenir v'zmana lakacha. That's when they pronounced the sanctification. The Amosai Mosian, Leor Iburo. They lit the torches on the day after the 30th day. So in other words, the Bezdin said that they witnessed the same, they said that they saw it on the 29th. So the 30th was Rosh Chodesh. So the night of the 31st, that's when
30th into the
31st. The 30th into the 31st. That's when they lit the torches, so people would know the Bezdin made the 30th day Rosh Chodesh. Okay. But in other words, if Besdin made the 31st day of Rosh Chodesh, then they did not light the torches
At all.
because it was automatically presumed, because either it's 29 or 30 days, right? So it can't be more. So if they didn't,
You have to go weiter. Why? It was very important.
right? The Gemara is going to explain why this is right. So the Gemara says the memre, the achaser avdinan, they lit the torches when a month was only 29 days, but amole loy avdinan. And the Gemara is, but when it was 31, when it was 30 days, they did not. And the Gemara says, my time. What's the reason? Amr of Zera said, Gezerah Mishum Rosh Chodesh Chaser, a month that has only 29 days.
Shechal
Lios Be'erev Shabbos. So the 30th, the
30th would come out on, if this, like
no,
this.
no,
week,
it
if
Shechal
Rosh
Lios,
Chodesh is Friday,
right,
so they can't light torches Friday night. They would light them Saturday
night.
night. So if the signal means it's always chaser, you count from the previous Rosh Chodesh and you realize that Friday was Rosh Chodesh. But if they also lit on when it was 30 days, then this Friday night where they light torch
Right.
wave on Saturday night, the people would not know whether Friday or Saturday was
Right.
Rosh
So so that's what the Gemara is going to say. So Amos Abde, when should they light the torch? So Bafuki the Shabbat, at the end of Shabbos. The Amrit Nava Nami Amole, if you want to say that they lit the torches, whether it was a mole or a chaser, so people would make a mistake. So now, so the Amrit Nava Nami Amole, so also people would say, would be limited, they would become to be confused, because they would say, Amri Hai Chaserhu, maybe it's really only 30 days, 29 days. And the reason they lit the fires Motzei Shabbos because they couldn't write the Friday night going into Shabbos because of Shabbos. Or the high delay oven mi esmo, and that's it didn't do before Mishum delay after. Oh, Dilmar, maybe, perhaps, Molehu, maybe it's really a full month, and that's why they're doing it now to show it's a full month. So therefore, in order there should be no mistakes, they only lit the torches when it was a chaser. Okay, I should go farther.
No, that's
They gotta go.
yeah. Okay, so Kenny will definitely be doing it tomorrow.
Yeah. Hi, Ted.
Hi,
Hi, Dawn.
I donated my phone.
Okay, I can hear you. I see you.
Take care.
Be good. Have a good day.